Amanda has asked, my question is about developing a timeline for my story. For some reason, I'm having a difficult time coming up with a reasonable timeline for my story scenes. A few hands-off read-throughs feel as if everything is happening way too fast or way too slow. I'll then get overwhelmed with having to decide how much time has passed between some scenes. How do you develop a timeline that not only works for the story, but makes sense for the reader as well? Okay, great question, Amanda. I struggle with timelines too, and I'm gonna tell you guys a secret. If you go and read any of my books, you'll start to notice. You might have noticed already. All my books tend to take place in like 3 days. I have this like tendency to write stories that take place in really short amount of time. And I think that's because I naturally just tell stories that where one thing happens after another. So when I sit down to write a story where it has to take place over a long period of time, like Boys of Summer took place over the whole summer, and I wrote another middle grade that comes out next year called Amelia Gray is Almost Okay, and it takes place over the whole summer. And I really had to force myself to create timelines that weren't so compact. So I will just say that, yes, I feel you, it can be difficult. The next thing I want to say is you might want to get second opinions. It's really easy for a writer who's completely absorbed in the story to notice those timeline issues. So for example, when I wrote this book, I Speak Boy, a middle grade book, I noticed it took place over the course of like 5 days. And I pointed it out to my editor and she goes, oh, I didn't even notice that. My editor. So I was like super focused on it. Usually the only people that are going to be super focused on your timeline is going to be your copy editor. That's not to say you shouldn't pay attention to it. I'm just saying that you might want to, kind of take a step back, let someone else have some feedback on it because you might just be overthinking it. That being said, when I think about timeline, I try to think about what feels the most organic to the plot. So if I'm saying like, if I'm creating a plot point where someone says, I'll call you with the results in 2 weeks, and then I realize, well, those kinds of results usually only take 2 days, that is going to feel forced to me. So I think just kind of coming up with trying to put your timeline through the natural test. Like, is this natural? Would this take this long in real life? Sometimes when we try to artificially extend the timeline, it tends to feel a little bit forced, especially if things we've written are things that naturally take only a day. And we're trying to extend them to like 3 days, 4 days. And then the reverse is true. If things, naturally need to develop over a week, like it can be really hard to, make someone forgive someone else in only a week when that's usually kind of a longer time period. So that would be my barometer, but I think I would get some second opinions on it. If you enjoyed this video, we've got a lot more on writingmastery.com. Check the description for links to our blog, free writing tools, and more. Happy writing.